Hi friends, I'm Sincerely Unique. Today I wanted to sit down and talk about a post I found as I did my every once in a while scroll through the FFXIV subreddit. This post here by King Flares on FF14 is praised for its great storylines. However, in your opinion, what is the worst long quest line or arc in the game that has the worst writing? I've been playing FF14 since August 2020, and by now have done a lot of story content in the game. I really mean, like, I'm pretty sure I saw most of the extra dialogue that you can get in Endwalker in my first playthrough, and even Eureka. The story and world immersion are what I love the most about this game, though. However, there are a lot of lows in the quest lines of this expansive story, and I just wanted to look back on them as we are about to go into a bunch of new storylines starting in patch 6.1. I will be showing screenshots in the replies. I tried organizing them as best as I could, but obviously I can't put everything in this video alone. They'll be posted on top of my Lalafell's little head here. I'm gonna be chilling here in the corner because I don't like showing full webcam on anything ever. Starting off, Paladin's Job Quest. Heavensward Paladin Job Quests. It's well known that the Paladin quest line is completely pointless. If you don't know, Paladin is infamous among the community to have the flat out worst story of all the job quests in the game. Why do you ask? I feel like this specific reply hits the point pretty well. There's also the thing that it just doesn't feel very paladin to me. Like, I get it. FFXIV paladins are the Sultana sworn and different from the generally known archetype, but Dark felt way more like playing a paladin and saving people than Paladin 30 to 60 did. There's a reason they went, oh, we'll just go Gladiator again in Stormblood. Yeah, I leveled Paladin up from 1 when it was a little Gladiator. I thought the Gladiator quests were like, man, whatever. But then it just fell so bad, especially in Heavensward. I sort of liked the Stormblood stuff, but only because it was all combat. It's such a shame. Paladin is supposed to be the Sultana Sworn. Like, there's so much they could have done with that specifically, but now that job quests are not getting any more writing to them and we're moving on to role quests, I don't think we're ever going to see that again. I totally forgot about this part only because I was a wee little sprout and barely had any idea what was going on when I played through Realm Reborn. Another thing I want to point out is I played the Realm Reborn MSQ mostly after the 5.3 cuts. I've only played through the Realm Reborn pre-patches so far, but my least favorite questline so far is easily the bit where we have to find the corrupted crystals to reach Garuda. The scientists are so self-absorbed, they don't even bother to ask why. There's someone asking about their work out of nowhere, and only tell us that we've got the wrong crystal type after we've done their jobs for them. I just felt like they were trying to pad the entire Enterprise story out when I did this bit. So I've been playing since August 2020, right? I've played most of A Realm Reborn after the 5.3 cuts, including the Garuda section here. I don't even remember any of this. Most of Garuda was kind of a blank for me. It was very interesting to see that this got a lot of upvotes, though, on the subreddit post, so clearly people remember. This was a section that had a bunch of quests and objectives trimmed out of it from the revamp. It used to be even longer. Every time a character goes, we need this, luckily I already have some. You originally had to go get it. Oh my gosh, again, I don't remember any of this, but what a relief that they cut that out. And I still feel like they have to go back to clean up some of A Realm Reborn because a lot of these upvotes are A Realm Reborn content. One section I do vividly remember from A Realm Reborn and have so much bitterness towards it, especially with the Endwalker role quests. It was the Titan section in A Realm Reborn. Go fetch the wine. The wine before Titan. I was a little close to drop the game at that point. What a mess of a story. Company of Heroes easy. A Realm Reborn is already enough of a grind without needing to do fetch quests just for a gag. The stuff you had to do for cheese, the wine stuff, that was just all so painful. Thankfully, After the Titan trial, things pick up. They sure do. Obviously, since we're going into details of storylines in Final Fantasy XIV, I will do my best to split this video up into chapters, and if you need to skip something, since I talk about optional content a bit in this video, you would be able to. So this is spoilers regarding Heavensward. The Titan quest line is way up there, but honestly, I was never more disappointed with the writing than with how everything post 2.55 with Ul'dah and Heavensward was handled. Some real amateur hour stuff, walking back nearly all the excitement from the parting glass to keep the status quo. I love Heavensward, but the Sultana subplot was not well done at all and really undid what made the end of A Realm Reborn such a slam dunk. Also, weaving it into the Heavensward main plot was a mistake. I'm glad the later expansions generally don't have us leave the expansion location unless the plot really demands it. I don't have a specific problem regarding the 2.55 stuff being retconned. I myself don't have a problem with that. I can totally understand if you do, but I appreciate the stuff in later on because Nanamo got to live. But my actual problem with everything was them ripping you away from Heavensward MSQ just to go do some all this Raban, saving Raban stuff. Like this reply right here. I feel like this problem was because they did it in the middle of Heavensward MSQ instead of leaving it to 3.x stuff where it could take the focus. I get that they wanted the big everyone touches weapons to solidify the alliance at the end, but they could have left it to that after the moment where we save Raban. I don't really like it when they rip you away from the plot to go, oh, they're like, oh, let's jump over here, which was a problem in Heavensward and in Stormblood. Shadowbringers and Endwalker make things a lot more linear, and I appreciate that. This one wasn't particularly popular take, unpopular take, I don't know the wording, but the Heavensward Moogles, all that carefree forgetfulness was meant to be cute, but ended up just being annoying. I think the Moogles are still cute. I really would love to get a plushie of them. But this is just a personal vendetta with them, and I agree with this person who made the comment. It takes like 20 quests to unlock their daily tribal quests. It was such a pain in the rear. I cannot stand these Moogles. That's just me being personally bitter. I hear a lot of praise for the Hildebrand quests. It's really shocking to me, especially to see Westerners be so into the Hildebrand quests. I try every expansion from A Realm Reborn, Heavensward, Stormblood to get into the Hildebrand quest, but it just never ended up well for me. Literally every time I would do Hildebrand stuff, I would just be like, oh, I'm gonna go work on Ivalice instead. Ivalice is gonna be a different conversation later on. I'm surprised at how many Hildebrand comments are here because I always felt like I was a major black sheep for finding his quests tedious and annoying. It doesn't help that I dislike all of the trials except the Stormblood one, I'm sure. I definitely appreciate the contributions that the Hildy quests make to the overall animation quality of the series, and I do get the appeal to an extent. But even as someone who enjoys classic slapstick humor and even some modern Japanese styles of it, Osomatsu-san is unfortunately one of my favorite recent anime. I cannot stand those quests. The Hildebrand Mambo, the Manderville Mambo though. I do like that emote. I like the emotes you get from the quests a lot. I did the A Realm Reborn Hildebrand quest and enjoyed it for the first 3/5 to 2/3. 3/5 to 2/3, I'm sorry, reading. But in my opinion, it just takes way too long. Part of the reason why I haven't done the Heavensward one yet. I wonder how much better these would have been if I didn't do them over 6 months, but over 10 years. It might be one of those things that best enjoyed in small doses. Now there's the kicker there. So my problem with Hildebrand stuff also, there's a lot of unlockable content. Not a lot. I'm kind of overreacting there, aren't I? There's a little bit of unlockable content that's exclusive only to doing the Hildebrand story. It can lead to some of the comments like this that are people just bitter that they can't unlock the content, which again, I also fall under that, but I still also fall under the I tried. When I actually do try to enjoy the content, I can't get into it and I just go do something else instead. Hildebrand, it was okay in A Realm Reborn as a goofy, one-off, drip-fed content, but the story content went downhill pretty quick and I felt it overstayed its welcome. There's only so much haha dumb idiot savant makes a goofy face and gets hurt that can happen before it just gets worn out. I don't think that there's no room for a goofy side of the story, but I don't think that goofy side stories should be made content trials gated behind them, and they shouldn't have an insane amount of use an insane amount of resources. Yeah, so Hildebrand, the devs have said that Hildebrand takes a lot of resources, like a lot of animation stuff. But I don't know, I think having like a trial or a dungeon locked behind it isn't so bad. If, you know, I actually had the patience to get through the quests. We will see how this turns out in Endwalker with the Hildebrand stuff. I'm going to try again to get into the Hildebrand quests. Hopefully this time, since I'm actually going to be doing them as they're coming out instead of just trying to do them all at once, I will appreciate them more. Okay, so this next bit has a bit of Stormblood spoilers here, so if you're worried about Stormblood MSQ spoilers, there's just gonna be Stormblood MSQ talk here. Do skip this section here. So, the two that come to mind off the top of my head, the Ivalice reveal, a character I barely knew who isn't who I thought, and then a cute little face there. I want to like Ivalice. I really want to. Every time she shows up on screen, I want to like Ivalice. To this day, I can't even. I feel so bad. I don't dislike Ida. I just need to stop saying Ida. I don't dislike Lise. I want to make also that clear. It's just kind of this type of deal. Like, there's other characters in the game that I'm hyped up over more than Lise. And the Confederacy Ruby Sea quest. Why hasn't the Wool and Kagane pub stomped some pirates again? I specifically wanted to point out this second part too, because I saw another reply that says, twiddling your thumbs at the Ruby Sea was easily my lowest point in Stormblood, because I have very bitter memories of going through the Ruby Sea as well, and just seeing no one. I saw not a single person in my entire time doing the MSQ there in the Ruby Sea. It was just dead empty. I was not having a good time over there. I was not impressed by the story. Really only the Yotsuyu bit right at the end did catch my interest, and thankfully over in the Asm Steppe, of course, everybody says the story picks up there, and I agree. Okay, now this one is gonna take me a little bit just because I also have to rant about this, but also this was a pretty upvoted topic. It was the Ivalice Raids. For me, it was Ivalice. Having no connection to Final Fantasy Tactics and such, it was the first questline I really found to be a snooze fest. I found it physically difficult to read through the text of that snotty brat. And in case you don't know who that snotty brat they're talking about, is Ramza. I had titled this section as Ivalice, so if you don't know anything about Ivalice, why are you here? That Ramza, from what I understand, is not the Ramza from FF Tactics. I don't know. I wasn't one of the 5 people who played FF Tactics. I'm sorry, okay? If they would port it to, you know, make it more accessible, maybe I would be. The Ivalice Raids. I'm told that it's an homage to Final Fantasy Tactics, but having never played it, I was completely lost and confused throughout the storyline. It was never clear why we were doing what we were doing, and they kept introducing new characters without establishing their motivations or connection to the plot properly. It is the only time in the game that I decided to skip the story halfway through. Now, again, if you played Tactics, you would probably know what the heck they were saying during the questline. There was one certain part in the storyline that everybody thought was just not a good time. That one part in Ivalice. And you guessed it. Wine Time 2 Electric Boogaloo. Oh My gosh. I was so thankful I played that part when they added flying to a Realm Reborn content. I can't even imagine doing all that before they added flying, because this is going to be sort of a controversial take, but I also just don't like doing the Ivalice Raids on Alliance Raid Roulette. Look, I love the Ivalice Raids in concept and the challenge that they bring. I like doing challenging content in Final Fantasy XIV. But doing the Orban Monastery on Roulette, the only Alliance raid in the game to currently have Echo, is so painful. I've heard of people who flat out ran out of time for that Alliance raid, and just so many horror stories about the lighthouse and the monastery and people getting it on Roulette and just not having a good time. I'm just hoping I don't hear the same negative feedback regarding the story and doing the raids themselves when the Myths of the Realm Alliance raids come out. Okay, we're moving on to Shadowbringers stuff. If you care a lot about Shadowbringers MSQ spoilers, this is... Okay, we're moving on to Shadowbringers stuff. If you haven't gotten to Shadowbringers MSQ yet, get out of here. Because we're about to just talk about a section later on in the MSQ that would be such a big spoiler. Everything in Shadowbringers, from the trolley through the dwarves. For me, that was a dead zone in what otherwise was a masterpiece. This, of course, excludes the Minfilia Reen cutscenes. Amarang Part 2 with Twine, Coluzia up until Mount Golg, and 5.1, 5.2. Total drag all the way, though. Excuse me for the hiccuping. I don't know about 5.1 and 5.2. I thought it was a fine lead up to 5.3, which is usually the point of the post patches, right? I did not like the trolley stuff. Every time I see a new player go through the trolley stuff, they just don't have a good time. I agree with the Reen Minfilia cutscene that I feel I care more for Reen than Minfilia, so that cutscene I do have sort of mixed feelings on, but as a Reen fan, it meant a lot. It was such a refreshing taste after all the trolley mess that you had to do. Coluzia also, I guess, was pretty slow. If you're not a Graha fan, that probably don't mean much to you. Alright, I'm pretty sure people are not surprised to see this next section here. Unlocking the Nier Raids. Dull and flat with no payoff. Nier Raids. I just never understood what the point was. Like, gameplay-wise, they're okay, but I guess story-wise, I don't feel like it has literally any value to 14 at all. Whereas, I love how almost every other story in the game at least adds something to the world. And even if it's an avenue for Yoko Taro to do some wacky writing, it doesn't feel very satisfying there either. Like, I guess if it's treated like, let's let Yoko Taro just mess around and make a few quests, and you view it as him just writing and whatever he wanted, it's kind of funny. Like the random 5.2 quest where you just go kill a goblin and then come back for that entire patch's story. But, like the wine quests, it doesn't actually make them enjoyable to do. The Yorha Raid series started from nowhere, ended nowhere, and had nothing meaningful happen in between. Nothing in the rest of the story refers to it, and refers to nothing in the rest of the story. It could be completely excised from the game, and literally nothing would change in the game lore-wise. When Yoko Taro was in a live letter after the final part of the Yorha Raids was released, he went, "I'm not answering any story questions," and proceeded to skip the first 16 questions provided. The Nier Raids. I love the raids, but once I got to this quest, I got so frustrated that I couldn't hit that skip cutscene button fast enough. There's a link to one of the quests you have to do. What you have to do in that quest is comfort a Nog. Speak with the villagers that are a likely source of gossip. Speak with Kanog. Speak with Kanog again. Speak with Kanog yet again. Speak with Kanog at top rung. Speak with, you guessed it, Kanog. Speak with Kanog and Stilltide. This time with feeling. Speak with Kanog and Kamra. Speak with Kanog once more. Search for Kanog. Search for Kanog in the crater. Search for Kanog in the command room. Search for Kanog. Speak with Kanog. Speak with the digs type. Jeez, chief. Thal's balls. Yeah, there's a lot of hot takes about the Nier Raids here, aren't there? I played Nier Replicant and Nier Automata. I am a huge Drake and Nier fan. I love doing side quests in even as much as Yoko Taro doesn't want us, as much as he doesn't want us to. I love doing the side quests in those games. This was such a painful quest line to do. I liked doing the Bozja raids more than the Nier storyline here. I feel so bad too, because in my opinion, this is one of Yoko Taro's weakest writings that I have ever seen from him. And I feel bad for people who haven't even played Nier, because they're not even getting the references that happen in the raids themselves. It felt like such a slap in the face to see that no story questions were gonna get answered either. I don't know how to feel about it nowadays. I don't know how to feel about anything positive about it. You had Yoko Taro show up and just be like, I'm not answering any story questions. I did the weekly quests as they were new, and they lined up to be right before a live letter. We got nothing. I wasn't even satisfied by the ending of the weekly quest. I was not satisfied about the talks of the Nier Raids from the live letter. There's nothing. I don't even know if we're ever going to go back to it. It breaks my heart doing this because I genuinely like this next set of content, but it was pretty highlighted in this Reddit post, so I felt like it should be worth talking about here. Might be a hot take, but after finishing Bozja Save the Queen storyline, it just felt really let down and disappointed with the end result. And the fact that some of the conclusion of the storyline was in the field notes, which you had a chance in getting. Yeah, if you finished Bozja and you haven't taken the time to read the field notes, you need to. It's a real shame that where the way Bozja ended. What's a bigger shame is the field notes continuing on the story, and I have to tell my friends that not only do you have to read this long field notes, but you also have to get disappointed that all of this happened off screen. It reeks of cut content, honestly. My best guess is that due to how COVID changed the development timeline and or how Endwalker MSQ was being written with Garlemald, they didn't really have the resources or capacity to actually finish what they set out to do. So instead, they gave us just what they had finished and used the field notes as a stopgap instead. I feel so bad. And I really hope that if the exploration content comes back in this expansion, that it's even better than Bozja and Eureka, because I like exploratory content in 14. I really do. It's some of my favorite pieces of content in the game. But the story has always been known to not be exactly popular. I really liked Bozja, but I can totally understand if you did not like it. Bozja. I really disliked Bozja. It felt really strange playing the MSQ and then finding a cure for tempering, and then having a ton of characters die to tempering. I have a lot of problems with it. As someone who played Bozja content as it was new since 5.45, I want to make clear the timeline of when Bozja is supposed to happen in relation with the MSQ. Delubrum happens after the events of 5.4. Oh, and also if you're worried about Shadowbringers spoilers, this is all Shadowbringers spoilers now, sorry. Delubrum happens after 5.4. Which means, by then, you're too late. Even if the cure of tempering has already been found, you're too late. Delubrum came out in 5.45. Zadnor and the Dalriada came out in 5.55. So, despite them finding a cure of tempering in 5.4, I want to make clear everything from Delubrum onwards happens after 5.4, after they find the cure for tempering. I just wanted to make that clear for any little sprouts going through Bozja, or anybody going back and trying to go through Bozja at the moment, where that's supposed to happen in relation with the MSQ. Phew, I'm getting tired, but we finally made it to Endwalker. I'm not going to talk too much about Endwalker here, just because overall we don't have a lot to talk about yet, and I myself love most of Endwalker's story. I don't want this video to get too long. The final section of this video, we're going to talk about Loporrits. Why Loporrits? Well, I do like them. I think they're adorable. I played Final Fantasy IV. I love the little humming ways. I do like them, but the revisit to Labyrinthos is kind of painful. I thought most people didn't like the Labyrinthos revisit, right? Sure, the stuff with Urianger I love and was very emotional, but running around with the Loppers doing whatever and just it felt like filler quests with this obnoxious music that won't stop blaring in the background until you finish the 6.0 MSQ was not a good time. I didn't like looking for all 13 or whatever of those NPCs. It was not fun. Loppers are a physical manifestation of Heidelin's love for you, an interesting look at Venat's pragmatism, an incredibly necessary breather after a lot of grim dark plot. Loppers are very, very good. So, yeah, I do like the Loppers. I don't mind the moon section at all because I was just too busy fawning over Final Fantasy IV at the time. It's just my problem with the Loppers stuff is the revisit to Labyrinthos. I enjoyed the Loppers initially, but I agree that near the end when they come down towards the planet and you have to spend the next good amount of quests doing basically filler, killed all the momentum that the MSQ had been building up to that point and made me go to bed to come back the next day because I was so bored of it. It's a real shame too because we all know what happens after that section. Okay, I think this video is getting pretty long on its own. I'm gonna have a fun time editing this thing. I'm a brand new noob. I'm such a noob. I'm a little sprout when it comes to editing, okay? That's gonna be it for me from now. It felt... I don't know how to feel now that I've been bashing up Final Fantasy XIV because I do love this game. It's just... I love it so much that I think it's worth talking about these, and it makes the good stuff really good, right? The really great moments, the really high highs versus the really low lows. If you have any other moments that you didn't like from Final Fantasy XIV, you can talk about it in the comment section down below. Please do your best to spoiler tag if you can. Just do your best, please. If you want me to do the best quest lines of Final Fantasy XIV, please let me know in the comment section down below. That won't necessarily be from a Reddit post. That'll just be from me and my own bias. Actually, from my own bias, 100%. So I don't know how that would turn out. I really do love this game, and I think it would be fun to talk about stuff I liked. If you made it to this point of the video, thank you so much for watching. I regularly stream Final Fantasy XIV on Twitch, plus some other JRPGs. Currently I'm going through Xenoblade. I come back to Genshin Impact quite a bit, especially with the new patch that just came out recently. I would really appreciate it seeing you more around in this channel just to discuss any type of JRPG story content. I love sitting down and doing stuff like this just to sit down and rant. Please consider commenting, liking, subscribing. You know the YouTuber jazz, and I hope I can catch you in whatever video I make next, whatever stream I do next. Bye-bye now.